Good morning. We are ready to leave our home on our adventure. This is our home in State College, Pennsylvania. There's Clay. Say hello.
Hello.
And we are going to leave and we are going to go once again camping. This is our third camper that we've owned. We've had two Outbacks. We love it very much. This one we'll show you in more detail as we get closer or when we get set up. And we are going to be traveling, carrying our camper with our Simply Flavorful van that we make our sweet and sour Italian dressing and more, and distribute those in Central PA. So that's our story for right now. We are going to be going camping, exploring, eating, and relaxing. And we look forward to getting to know you better as you decide to subscribe and comment on our Facebook or our YouTube channel. Thanks. Just a few key ingredients to a great weekend. These are a few sights from the Western Maryland Railway Station and the museum. Very cool place to visit. So Clay and I are here in Cumberland, Maryland, just below Bedford where we're camping. And that is beautiful. It goes up the hill there around that turn. And you can see that Cumberland, Railroad was very popular here, and there's rails all through this town. Very historic, so you can see some cool murals here on this building, and lots of places to park downtown, and cool wall murals kind of everywhere. The downtown Cumberland, we're going to go onto Baltimore Street, check out the shops and dining. The visitor center is closed right now due to COVID, but check this out. A water wall. Cumberland, Historic City Center. We're heading that way. For the recipe for our Hushpuppies, please go to villageeatinghouse.net and look at the recipes for our Italian spice phenomenon. Also Google the history of Hushpuppies.
Our oil's been heating up now for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to test it to see if it's hot enough to make one of our wonderful Hushpuppies.
Okay, so that Hushpuppy mix, we had it a little bit, the batter was a little bit thin. So Clay has already added a half cup of flour. So that's going to make the total so far 1.5 plus a half a cup. So 2 cups of flour for 6 parts of Jiffy mix. This is our first time for doing this. So Clay went ahead and
I'm putting it in just a little bit to see if it's hot enough.
I thought you already did that.
I did not.
So
no,
he's putting that in.
And now it's in there cooking away. Do you have a picture of it, huh?
A what? Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, it's cooking.
Now sometimes they'll stick to the bottom. You want to get it a little bit loose so it pops up. And it looks to me like we're going to need to add a little bit more flour to it because it fell apart.
Oh, okay. So are you just going to take that right out of
I'm
there?
going to take this right out of here and we're going to add a little more flour to it.
Try again.
We've actually doubled the amount of flour that we put in there originally. So it went from 1.5 cups to 3 cups. Now we're going to try it again and see how this one works.
What we want it to do is drop, cook, and then once it's done, we want it to rise to the top. And so it's dropped now, and it looks like it's cooking.
And it's floating up to the top, so we are good with our amount of flour now.
And so it's staying in a nice little sort of all of its own, not breaking apart. And so we'll go ahead and continue to drop.
Well, actually at this point I can tell by the quite hot enough, so we need to let it go.
Sorry, what? You can tell now by the way that it's cooking or not cooking fast enough.
Yeah, the oil needs to get a little hotter, but we do have the consistency of the batter correct.
And so how do you know how hot your oil needs to be?
How slow that this is cooking at this point, it's going to be saturated with a bunch of oil in it. So the temperature of the oil needs to be a little bit hotter because you want the outside of the dough to cook.
But how do you know when your oil is hot enough?
We will give it another test batch in a little bit. Give it another 5 minutes.
So clay is starting manufacturing. At this point we are going to be cooking for about 50 people. We are dropping the batter down into the hot oil. You can see that it's really sizzling. It's about, what did you say, 350 degrees? And he's going to throw in quite a bit of those hush puppies, letting them cook. And as they come to the top, you know, he'll be, well, you'll see what he's going to do here. So he's going to add some puppies, and I think that we should tell you that in the end we actually doubled the flour mix. So we added 1.5 cups of flour in the beginning, and then we actually added 1.5 cups afterwards, knowing that the batter was not thick enough. And so that just comes by trial and error. This is our first time for doing hush puppies. We're doing this camping. We're going to a fish fry, so we're doing this outside of our camper, and we're having a great weekend, enjoying lots of food, fun, relaxation with friends, and we're actually doing this little project. Oh, you can see they're going to get nice and toasty brown. Once they're done, he's going to flip them upside down.
Actually, as they cook, they actually roll over.
Oh, they roll over on their own.
They roll over on their own, yes.
Well, look at those good hush puppies doing their job. And so those are going to be nice and crispy, nice and brown, moist and tender, and delicious tasting on the inside. And we are going to cook those for the next couple of minutes, getting them nice and ready to take to our fish fry. Now for the relaxation part. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you'll subscribe and you'll be a part of our audience as we camp, explore, eat, relax. Thanks for joining.